a sports injury before? Raise your hand. How many of y'all have had surgery from that injury? Raise your hand. How many of y'all have had a coaching change? How many of y'all have had a coach make you mad? Okay, yeah. Thank you for being honest. I feel it. Well, being a former collegiate football player, and after 7 different coaches, 5 injuries, 2 surgeries, and 3 different schools, I understand all of that. And despite that process and despite all that agony, I had to persevere through all those different challenges. And I not only won, despite all that, I developed Heart of a Champion. And my name is Elijah Birch, and I want to show y'all how to develop that Heart of a Champion as well. So, a little bit about me. I was born and raised right down the street in Warren, Ohio. I'm 24 years old. I am an athletic academic advisor, GA, here at South State University, and I'm in the counseling program. But my end-all be-all goal is to be an athletic counselor because I want to be the support for student athletes that I never had at any of the schools I've been to. So, this is what drives my passion, is my experience and where I play. So just to go through that real quick, I went to Ashland University. It's a prominent D2 in Ohio here. And I was able to win a conference title with them right off the bat my freshman year. And then I transferred to Mount Union, which is a prominent D3 in Ohio as well. And I was able to win 2 conference championships with them. And it might seem weird because it's both in 2021, both championships, and that's because the spring conference championship was in that weird COVID season when everybody was just getting back. And some conferences just played, each other, but no one else. So won that in the spring, and then the regular season in the fall. And for my grad year, I played at Geneva College, which is a Division III school in PA. And that's where I was awarded all conference player honors, and that was amazing. So just to tell you a little bit about how I got here, it all started at Ashland University. I was so ready. I was on full ride, scholarship. I was ready to prove people wrong that said I could never play, come from high school, and I was just ready to go. And I came in right off the bat, 3rd string travel, and right in the depth chart. But then, first day of pads though, got a severe injury. My kneecap completely dislocated, and then it came back in. So it sprained my MCL. It was devastating. I was like, man, I was just up here, all the way down here. And I remember feeling so defeated, sitting on the steps with a ice pack, half melted on my leg while I'm watching all my teammates play. So I go through that, 8-week rehab process. And it was frustrating, but I was like, look, I got my whole career ahead of me. I'm good. I can still accomplish my goals. And I still remembered my goals that I set before. And then my coach that brought me in, he was like, hey, we expect you to be a great player for us, a starter, and in 2 to 3 years, be an All-American for us. So I still had a lot of motivation, even though I was down for a second. And then next year comes around, I was doing okay, but then my other knee, the left one, it started hurting to the point where I couldn't walk. I was like, yo, why am I feeling this sharp pain when nobody hit? There wasn't anything bad that happened in the weight room. So I was like, what's going on? So halfway through the season, got an MRI. So I'm just anticipating what's happening. Turns out, I got a huge bone bruise on my tibial head, shin bone, and my femoral head, femur. And so my whole joint was bruised up pretty bad. So they just sat me out the rest of the season. And they gave me a big old metal brace to keep it intact. So at this point, I'm like, yo, I'm ending up like the guy that's always hurt. Every time he comes up, he's always hurt. He does his books right, he doesn't get smart with coaches, but I'm ending up being that guy. But I was like, all right, still remember my goals, I have to get through. And coming up that spring, all of a sudden, they switched my positions. I was at defensive end, and I was like 240 pounds. And they moved me to defensive tackle, and those guys, they're at least 275 pounds, so I was pretty light. And then I had to learn that whole new position in less than a month for spring ball. So I was pretty frustrated. I was like, yo, this don't even make sense. I don't care if you need bodies, I need my body. But I was like, you know what, I still wanna play. My coach said I'm gonna be in the game plan, so maybe something will change when it gets to the fall, when they get the numbers up. So I go through these 2.5 weeks of just confusion, ended up doing pretty good, but in my first scrimmage of that spring, something just clicked. I was getting tackles, I had a sack, I had a pass breakup, which is where you back the ball down when the quarterback throws it. I was balling, right? But in the last play of that scrimmage, I saw my teammate get slung, from tackling a running back, and his hip went into my left leg that just got hurt. Went into my left leg with the brace on. So my knee that was in the metal brace went from here to here. And I'm not gonna put that picture up for you. And not only did I feel the ice pick in my joint of excruciating pain, I felt that same piercing in my heart. I was like, look, after all that I've been through, after all that I've persevered through and that I worked on and I didn't complain about it, and all the injuries I came through with my knees, I have another one. But thankfully, that knee brace ended up saving my ACL, my meniscus, and my MCL, but the overall joint was still sprained, and I did tear my PCL. And I got a small hairline fracture on that tibial head that was already bruised. So I had to rehab through that entire summer. And I made the most of it, and at this point, I couldn't run, right? Hurt my leg pretty bad, couldn't run right up until camp. And I went from 245 to 260, yoked up, I was solid. But my coaches, when I came in, they were like, oh, you're out of shape. I'm like, well, coach, I couldn't run for 3 months, 4 months, what do you expect? So, okay, we're gonna have you third string DN, see what you do by the end of camp, then we'll go from there. They gave me a shot, but I still wasn't in that running and football shape yet. I had to give my body a little more time. So after about a month, after they put me on scout team again, I was killing it. My head coach gave me recognition in scout team player awards weekly in front of the team, and he would compliment me personally. And then my offensive coordinator, total opposite side of the ball, would give me compliments like pre-game for home games or just personally outside of that. And the 7th week of that season, my defensive coaches finally traveled me. They traveled me to Detroit Mercy, or not Detroit Mercy, I'm sorry, Wayne State. Then I ended up playing that game. I was like, okay, cool. At least I'm, got my foot in the door. Came back next week, they moved me back down. And what was crazy, defensive lineman that game, the game previously where I traveled, blew out his knee. So there was an extra travel spot within my position group. And I was like, coach, there's a spot open. I'm healthy. Coach said what he said, the head coach. And why aren't I traveling? I'm healthy. And he basically just told me, we're still not gonna travel you. So I was like, okay. That was my last day of practice. And that day, ended up falling on my wrist funny, broke it. Broke a small bone in my wrist. disc called the scaphoid, and the way the artery is wrapped around it, it can't heal on its own, so I needed surgery.